We made it.
We did. It's real life. We
made it.
We're here.
We transitioned from the office
Uh-huh.
to the studio.
Look at God. He answers prayers.
They can see us. But if they're listening, they can't see us.
Right.
So what do they need to do to see us?
So you need to go on YouTube and go to the BLOC. Is it just the BLOC or the BLOC NOLA?
We made it!
You didn't answer my question.
YouTube.com/theblock.
There you go. Go there.
BLOC.
You can see us.
So I do have
live.
some housekeeping things we have to talk about.
Okay.
The first thing is that I have to apologize to everybody for the audio on the overflow sermons.
And we forgive you.
We blame Taylor Capilano.
Oh no!
I'm just playing.
Protect Taylor at all costs.
I'm just playing. No, so we have, for people who have listened around the world, which we're going to talk about that in a second too.
That's exciting.
We have endured a hurricane here at Celebration, and we have been moving around to 1, 2, 3. How many times have we moved locations the past month? 3 times?
Like services?
No, to different rooms.
Oh, a lot. I don't know.
A lot. That's good. Okay, so we moved a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
And so because of that, we don't have the capacity to record the way we used to in the
Yeah.
worship center. So it is what it is. So we want to apologize for that. All right, second thing. Last week, we had a new country at the number 2 spot of listeners for the overflow.
Uh-huh.
The most amount of listeners in 1 week in the history of the podcast, by the way.
How many?
I can't tell you that. It's a secret. But here's the thing. But you need to guess the country because Australia moved down to number 3 last week.
And so it's a new country.
They went down under.
So they went where? Where'd they go?
Okay, so number 3. Come on, guess who it is.
So it's not any of the.
You got a couple guesses.
Okay, it's not any of the countries that I said last week.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. You have 3 guesses. Go.
Canada.
Canada's not even in the top 5.
Wow. Our neighbors.
All right, so that's 1. Come on.
Okay. I'm not good at this.
Come on.
I failed geography.
Okay, just guess.
I don't know.
Do you know any
Mexico.
other country? No. Mexico is in the top 5. Right, go ahead. Last one.
Europe is a continent, isn't it? See, I'm not good at this.
It's Kenya.
Kenya, my cousin.
No, it's not. Are you part? What is it? Are you?
No,
Kenyan?
I am Nigerian.
You're Nigerian because you have Ancestry DNA.
Yes, I know
need to
who
do
I
that.
am. You should.
Did we talk about this already?
We did.
Okay, I need to get it, but it was like too expensive. It was like $100 to figure out.
It's not. You gotta catch it on sale. There'll be a Christmas sale.
You have a lot of money. Okay, and so here the 2
That's
providences. You ready? 2 providences in Kenya. You want to guess the provinces?
No. If I couldn't get the country, why would I do the provinces?
So Nairobi province is number 1, and then Embu district.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
really exciting.
it is exciting. This is an international podcast. I say that every week, but
Wow.
it's exciting. So if you're from Kenya, you're listening, drop us a DM. Let us
Kenya.
know how you learned about the Overflow podcast. Now here's the thing, we're doing video this week. You know the real reason why we're doing it?
No.
You don't know because I've been keeping it a secret.
I don't like this.
Are you
What?
concerned? The real reason is because when you record, you have to have someone recording, right? And we have 2 people in the room.
We do.
That this was just a big trap to get them into the podcast.
I love it so
Is
much.
it? So the first person is Josue Gomez.
Love Josue.
We love Josue. Josue is a worship leader at Iglesias Celebration, and he's amazing. And we also have Taylor Capilano in the room.
Taylor.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
There he is. So here's the thing. Taylor is probably one of the most creative people I know.
Yes.
Which he set up the Between Two Ferns look we're looking at on YouTube.
Yes.
But he's also one of the wisest people I know. So we're going to try to get him to talk, which he doesn't do.
He does not.
Which is weird, right? Like, how do you lead worship and not talk?
But so we called him talking once. The spirit fell.
But it was on accident.
Heavy.
It was an accident.
And
he thought he was
started
alone with
talking.
Jesus.
And it was, I had to open my eyes.
And then he opened his eyes and he was like,
Tay talking?
I know, right?
The spirit really fell
I
that
know.
night. It was good.
We use Planning Center. He plans those moments in.
He does.
For
I
other
saw
people.
the note.
I know, but it's okay.
I saw the note.
So Taylor, whenever you want to jump in. Josue, whenever you want to jump in. We're talking about dating. So last time we talked about boundaries and dating. How was it?
Yes, it was really good.
Was it good?
I feel like it was very fruitful, and people will be able to really set those boundaries. I feel like it's one of those things where, like, now it's up to you to, like, do the homework and actually apply.
Was there anything last night that when you heard it, you were like, oh, I didn't know that?
Yes, actually. You wanted to become a veterinarian.
Yeah, I have no idea why I said that.
I did not know that. That was
I have no idea why I said that.
I was like, I heard a lot of things.
I did. Do you know what
said about what you wanted to do?
I did, but I really. Okay, I don't want to talk about this right now. All right, what else? What else stood out other than that?
No.
What else? What else?
That was what else? I think the no massages.
Oh.
And physical boundaries.
I added it in last minute on the spot.
Because listen, because these dudes be slick. They be slick.
Tell me, Aly, what they be saying.
I don't know. I'm not putting on myself.
No.
I'm just saying that dudes be slick when it comes to,
you're so tense.
You had a rough week, huh?
Let me give you a massage.
Just sit, just chill, and then
you go outside the theme park.
Gotta say, don't touch me there.
These
this
are my no-no squares. Okay, good. All right, boundaries. Good to know. So last night we talked about 3 boundaries. We talked about mental boundaries, emotional boundaries, and physical boundaries. Which is, here's the thing. I feel like whenever anybody talks about dating, they only talk about physical boundaries.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Right.
But last night, as I was like processing it, I was like, what leads to that? Right. And I think that if you don't follow the trail, I had mentioned a book that I'm reading right now by John Mark Comer called Live No Lies, which Taylor's shaking his head thumbs up. So if he gives a thumbs up, then we're good to go.
It is.
Right. So that's I would highly recommend anyone buy that book. But I love how, especially when we started with mental, about how the enemy just tries to like get your thoughts. And if he can get your thoughts, he can go ahead and manipulate you to do things. Yeah. Right. And so anything about that you thought was
I think that when you hit that, it's important to start with you, because I feel like mental, you have to prepare yourself for that and like be ready for whatever. And I love how in mental you said use your common sense, right? And like recognize the red flags, because that's where I would mess up the most, is that like, because I wasn't okay with me, because I wouldn't deal with my insecurities and my mental state, that I was accepting whatever came before me, and it just wasn't healthy in any of the circumstances.
Yeah. Well, you're in school for what?
Counseling, psychology, and counseling.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have a lot to say on this, probably.
Just a little bit. I haven't earned a degree, and I'm not trying to get in trouble. So
you're not allowed to say anything yet.
Everything I say is based off experience and very minor research, because I'm still trying to earn my degree.
Yeah. We had Carrie Ann come. We did a mental health series. You remember that? And I actually re-listened to the conversation I had with Carrie Ann that night to kind of give me some thoughts about this. And she was talking about how you have to know your story. Yeah. And I thought that was a different way to think about dating mentally. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the importance of knowing your story. What can you say? I mean,
I think that
you have mentioned that to me a bunch of times.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like people don't like everyone has gone through a traumatic experience in their life. Like everyone has experienced some type of trauma, whether it's minor or like massive. I think that people don't know what their triggers are until it continues to be like pushed, and then who knows, if the stranger, your person you're dating, like you push that button at the wrong time in the wrong place, and you end up being the victim of that. So I feel like to avoid all that hurting yourself and then hurting another person, it's best to go see a counselor and have them kind of work through some things. Like I'll also be mindful of like different habits. I know for me, I had friends tell me like, why did you snap at me like that? You normally don't snap like that. Like, why are you getting upset? And I had to like sit back and reflect and be like, wow, like I have anxiety. I struggle with being anxious. And when things happen outside of my control, I freak out and lash out on whoever's closest to me. Right. And I didn't like the way my friends felt, and I didn't like the way I felt. And I was like, I hate to bring this in like a relationship. So I was like, I need to get help for this. And like I found different coping mechanisms and like different ways to address that, mainly just stepping away. But if I had not recognized that, I could have harmed more people and lost a lot more friends if that hadn't been addressed. Yeah,
and I'm in counseling right now, but even a couple years ago, I went to counseling with Laura after we had a very challenging season, because we were like our marriage. We were fighting a lot and stuff, but it was all a result of like things that had taken place while we were in the hospital and stuff. And I remember we went to counseling, and it really started to like, as we're talking about, like you go back and you just start like unpacking trauma and things like that, and how that trauma has directly impacts your relationships. Yeah. And I didn't realize that till I went through it myself. Yeah. But here's the thing that I'm finding too with people in our ministry. So I was really encouraged last night, because I had somebody come to me and be like, hey, where do I go get counseling? Which is amazing. Yeah. Like, hey.
That's good. We love it. We love to see it.
Taylor's snapping, so there you go.
Listen.
And then, but here's the thing that I'm hearing too is like, what if they can't afford counseling?
Yeah.
Like that's it.
That's the real thing.
That's a conversation we had a lot during the mental health series because they were like, okay, well I need to go to counseling, but like my insurance doesn't cover it.
Yeah. So
like, what would you?
It's tough. But I say save at least for one session. It's tough to shop around, but shop around. You'd be surprised if there are, depending on your situation, there may be some sources and resources that are available to you. There are some community centers that have counselors depending on the area you live in.
Yeah.
And so there are certain resources. You may not be able to afford an hour every week, but you may be able to afford an hour a month to unpack something. I feel like we spend money on food, we spend money on other things that we desire if we need to put a priority into our mental health if we want to be healthy. There's something else I wanted to share too. I feel like I learned this in one of my classes that like and in conversations with different counseling students is that our brain remembers everything. Like even though we may not remember stuff ourselves, like our brain is so powerful that it remembers every single thing, meaning feelings, memories, and stuff. So you may be experiencing something and you may not remember it, but your brain remembers it and your brain responds in however that thing is. Because I remember like when I was a little girl, my dad took me to go see he took me to a second line and there was a shooting. And then a few months later, he took me to go see fireworks, and I screamed and I cried. And it's because of the sound. And it took me years to even like handle fireworks. And I don't remember being at the second line in a shooting, and I don't remember the fireworks, but I remember being afraid of fireworks and the sound for the longest. It's because like your brain remembers that. So if you have gone through anything as a child, like you don't know, you really don't know everything that's going to trigger you. So you really should seek that help. You really should.
And as it pertains to relationships, I mean, you just think about how like people have had so much trauma in their life prior to relationships, probably, and so that leads to unhealthy behavior in a relationship. And so if they don't, as we talked about last night, your identity, like knowing who you are in Christ, right? Your identity precedes your behavior. Yeah. So when you find out who you are and you believe it, like you believe that you're a son of God, you believe that you're a daughter of God, you are positioned correctly to where someone can't take advantage of you and play mind games with you. You know, which I think honestly, when I'm just doing young adult ministry for almost 10 years now, it's like hearing the stories about how people take advantage of other people in relationships. You know, that makes me so mad to hear stuff like that. But I think to take a step back before you even get into a relationship, maybe you're in a relationship right now and say, hey, let me go get some help. Let me go see a counselor or, you know, something like that.
That's good. I also want to say you're not. I feel like people in relationships, they look at parents. I know like a lot of family issues, but like you're not your mom, you're not your dad.
Oh,
like,
you looked at the camera right now.
I did. I looked at the camera to let.
I feel like you thought this was a TV
let
show.
them know. No, I want
you turned your head and everything,
I did.
And you flipped your brain.
I did.
You saw it?
I need them to look me in the face to know that you are not your mom and you are not your dad, and y'all don't have to have the same stories.
That was a powerful moment.
Like that's like because so many people have seen failed relationships and they think that like it stems from their parents, and some stuff do, but like you can be the generational curse. Like it can end with you. So I feel like that's a mental thing, like to know that like I'm not my mom, I'm not my dad. I am who God says I am.
Right, like growing up in a family with divorces. Right. Or like Laura was talking about a couple weeks ago about families with unplanned pregnancies. And stuff like that. Like you mentally go to a place of like, well, this is just going to happen. Right. And the enemy, like we talked about, the enemy uses that to his advantage to destroy your life and your relationships, which your relationship's supposed to be life-giving, and God's supposed to be at the center of those things. And so you have to, you know, make sure you put Jesus in there. Taylor, you got anything to add? No? Why are you laughing, Josue? Josue, you got something to add?
No.
No? Okay. Hey, I just want to make sure that you guys are full of wisdom. So, all right, what else you got?
So we talked about mental, not emotional boundaries. And you talked about guarding your heart in practical ways.
Okay.
We could do the guard our heart.
Okay.
Has there been a time in
Why are you
your
laughing?
life?
Why are you smiling? Everyone needs to know. We do not plan any of this out prior to us hanging out and doing this.
Because it's fun.
We want it to be fun, right? But there's moments that I'm concerned.
And the spirit just moves.
Is that the spirit?
Yeah.
What spirit is moving?
Okay,
go ahead.
Holy. Ooh,
okay, go ahead.
Jesus.
Go ahead.
So, has there been a time, and I'm sure there is because you're human, where you did not guard your heart,
Oh,
and what
100%.
happened? Tell us
100%.
a story. Story time.
Awkward.
You hate me. He hates me.
Taylor's probably sitting thinking, what story is he going to tell? Because Taylor knows all my stuff. And Josue too.
So we have people in the room that be able to confirm or deny if he is telling the truth. So
Okay, so let me think. Yeah, I got a bunch of stories. I mean, the main one is the one that I talk about all the time, which was like a catalyst for me in my walk with the Lord. It was the relationship I felt the most hurt and pain in because I didn't listen to counsel, and they're both shaking their heads and laughing behind the scenes. And so, it's when I was didn't listen to counsel around me. It's when I guess, like, if I think back on it, like, everybody wants to be desired. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be sought after. And so when you're not loved, when you're not sought after, the first person to do that, you automatically think, oh, this is from God.
yeah,
Right? Like we automatically go to a place of like, oh man, like they really like me, they desire me. And so what happens is that you're so quick to drop your guard, because we talked about this last week. If you're thirsty, you drink anything.
Yeah.
But when you're full, you're picky, right? So when you're thirsty, then anything that comes at you, anything that's offered to you, you're like, oh, this must be good for me.
Yeah.
And so there was a relationship that I got into that I just gave myself, emotionally, all, was just open. My heart was open to that. And because of that, I experienced a lot of pain.
Oh,
you
I'm
know?
so sorry.
Okay, you're not sincere
It's
when you
okay.
say that.
It's okay.
But I mean, like, it's true. It was just like, a lot of people are like, oh, this only happens to girls. No, it happens to dudes too.
Yes.
Except dudes, like, they cover it up. They
Yeah.
act like it ain't no big deal. And they, like, put on this facade of like, oh, I'm strong, I'll just go date another girl or whatever. But the problem is that if you don't deal with that, you're going to treat the next person
Yep.
just the way that you were treated just now. And so you have to deal with those emotions, I think, and you have to come to a place where, for me, when I was broken, Psalm 51 was my psalm. Like, that was my passage of scripture. Every single day I was reading that about how David had made a mistake. Okay? And I think you have to own your mistakes.
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, I did something wrong here. I opened myself. I crossed boundaries or whatever. So own your mistakes. And then get to a place where you realize that God delights in your brokenness, which is crazy. Right? People are like, well, what I hate seeing is that when people get broken, they stay away.
Yeah.
That's not the heart of God. When you're broken, you need to be in the house of God.
Yeah.
You need to be the closest you've ever been. Like, when my kids hurt themselves, or when they do something like when they hurt their brothers, I want them close to me. I don't push them away, right? And God is like that. He wants to pull you close. So for me, Psalm 51 was my psalm, where it says, it doesn't delight in burnt offerings, I'd bring it. Doesn't delight in sacrifice. What I desire is a broken and a contrite heart.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a verse that says, return to me the joy of my salvation. That was my prayer in that season, because I feel like my joy had been sapped away, because all of my joy was placed in an individual.
Yeah.
Everything emotionally of me was placed in a person. And when that person hurt me, and when that relationship was broken, it was like, okay, well, you have nothing left to give.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm so glad. God, I thank God social media wasn't around back then the way it is right now, right? Everybody's shaking their heads. Can you imagine, right? I thank God it was just MySpace at the time. There wasn't Twitter. I don't think it was Facebook. Yeah, Facebook had been around. I'm not that old. Are we that old?
Yeah, you
Facebook
are.
was there.
You're-
Facebook was there,
you're pretty
right?
old.
But like Instagram, can you imagine if Instagram? Oh, Lord Jesus, right? Like, I'm so glad that there were those barriers. I feel bad for people today, because my encouragement to people, this is what I tell people all the time when they go through something, and I'm even like doing counseling right now with a bunch of different people, and I'm saying, look, just step away from social media.
Yeah.
Step away. Social media is an outlet for the enemy to regain your emotions, and to push you to a place you don't need to go. So whether you have to just whatever, deactivate your account for a certain period of time or whatever. And what I find is that when I'm having conversations and I'm like, everything okay? Well, yeah, I saw that he was with this girl, or she, like, how'd you see that? Oh, I was just following my friends and they posted a picture at a party. And it's like, no, like cut it all out. Like, cut it all out.
Yeah.
Like, just get at a place where it's just you and God. Because for me, this is my story. That's the place where God healed me.
Yeah.
When it was me and God, and some of the guys, Taylor and Josue were there, Davis B was there, just some guys in the community around me, and that's the place where I really found healing. from crossing this boundary. This boundary was the hardest. This was, and we talked about this last night. We said that I'm looking for this quote that I had last night from Deborah Folletta, the counselor from True Love Dates. She said that something is our capacity outweigh over physical. It's an emotional sex that can be just as harmful as heartbreaking when you move too deep too fast. Yeah. And that's how you feel. You feel like even though maybe you haven't gone physically that far with somebody, emotionally you have. Yeah. And you have all these repercussions to.
That's good.
Did I answer your question?
You did. Thank you so much.
Thanks for giving me an idea that we were going to talk about this.
You're welcome. Happy I could serve. But no, I feel that because I'm not going to put my business out there.
No.
Physical
Nope,
boundaries.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways.
I don't want to share. Oh, okay.
Just share one. I know you shared a lot, but go ahead. Share one.
The trauma.
About the dude from the rental car place, right?
No, it's not. That was.
Did you hear that one? You need to go listen to that one. That was pretty funny. Go.
The most emotional one.
Go.
It's so embarrassing.
That's
but
fine.
I've been delivered. The emotional boundaries when I got catfished.
Oh, tell
worst.
The story. Do tell. So just so y'all know, we had a message called Catfish last year, right? And I asked you, I said, have you ever been catfished? And this was a whole afternoon.
I said, yes.
It's a counseling session.
Yes, I have.
Go ahead.
And
Tell us where you met him.
No. Okay, so I met him online. I'm not giving
tell him where. Tell him where. I didn't even know this place existed.
It's because you're not black.
It is true. It is true.
Oh,
All
this
right,
is
go.
so embarrassing. Okay, so I'm crying.
I'm here listening intently.
Oh no, see, you're listening intently because you're getting joy out of this.
No, I'm not. This is empathy. I'm here with you.
I wish I felt that. So I met this guy in a chat room when I was in high school on his website that probably doesn't exist anymore.
What's the website in case you want to go?
It was called BLOC Planet. It was for Black people.
Do they have like White Planet, you think? No?
Yeah, we live in it. You set it up. You set it up.
Keep going.
Very long story short.
Jesus, help us.
We to let you, I don't even put my age out there, but this is before I had a cell phone, but it was a Nextel, like a chirp. So it was.
Did you know the Lord in him then or no?
I would go to church, but like, was I committed? No. Okay. Like, no, not for real.
Okay. But you were committed to him.
I was sad young Aly. So met this guy on Black Planet. He was really cute, of course, because all I had was a square. And so we both had these squares, whatever. We exchanged emails. That should give you an idea where we were. So we would email each other back and forth, then finally exchange numbers and with text and stuff. This dude, like, we would talk all night. I'm in high school, so high school drama, teenage love, whatever.
In a chat room?
No, like on the phone. We had each other's numbers at this point.
This is before FaceTime.
Yeah, this is before, like, it was like flip phones. Like I had a Razor. Like, I had just got a Razor. I'm like, I can take a picture. Yeah. And it's like pixelated, like black and white pictures and whatever. Yeah. And so, time goes on and we talking on and off. Like, I was that crazy teenager where like, and this has happened, we met summer of 2005. So later that year is when Hurricane Katrina happened. And so his number was the only number that would work because all my friends, like all the towers were down. So I couldn't contact him. So we talked a lot during Katrina. And that was a very tough time for me because I am a hormonal 16-year-old girl that has just gone through this tragic, traumatic event and is stuck in a house with like 13 people in a stranger's house in a one bedroom. It's just awful.
So you were talking on the phone to him all during Katrina?
Yeah. All during Katrina. And
like, what do you mean, like all like during the day, at night, or what?
How does this apply to? I'm trying to get to the boundary. See, he's trying to see what he's trying to do. I ain't putting all my business out there like that. We just met.
Overtime part two.
We So we would talk years. When I say years has gone by, years. Now, granted, your girl wasn't crazy, so I was still talking to other dudes because homeboy said he was living in Florida and I was in Louisiana. So I'm like, I'm still doing me here and still ha 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 he he with him on the phone. And so years go on, and technology advances.
Wait, you talked to him for years?
Years. Enough for technology to advance.
How many years?
I don't want to just, if you could do the math yourself.
Is this last year this ended?
No. Let the record show. This has been done. Been. Okay. That's how I can talk about it. Good. Been done. I'm a grown woman. Anyway, so as technology advanced, I have finally got a laptop with a webcam. So I was like, and this is when Skype.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
I was like, babe, we can Skype now, like long distance, like we can see each other finally. And he was like, oh no, like my camera broke. I was like, I would be on Walmart website. I was like, babe, camera's only like $20. Like I can get you a camera. Nah, like you're good. And so as time went on, it was just, he just ghosted me, went out of nowhere. Fast forward to Facebook is live and everybody has a Facebook at this time. I was like, when people started getting Facebook, you're like, let me just look this person up. So it's one of those things let me just look him up. And I was like, wait, hold up, what? And I saw the picture. I was like, can't be. But then he would send me pictures of his little brother, and a little brother picture was on there. I was like, this you? And so got on there, looked at it. He is now married with twins. And I was like, okay.
Wait, he was married with twins when y'all were talking?
No. He was single. I don't know.
He might have been married.
I don't think he was married. We were both young.
What's his name?
Not saying that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I can't say. He lied about what school he went to. He told me he was going to University of Miami playing football. And my stupid stuff. I had guys that were friends, and I was like, he plays for University of Miami, and he was like, what's his name? I was like, what's his name? And I look him up. I was like, they were like, why he not on the website? And I'd be like, babe, why you not on the website? And he goes, I'm a red shirt. Oh, he's a red shirt. And they'd be like, oh yeah, they're not on the website. I was like, okay, cool. Okay, well, that's fine. But then the lies just not, it just was, the math wasn't mathing. But I opened up to him about everything. It got to the point, honestly, if he would have told me he looked how he looked, I wouldn't have cared because I was
emotionally invested.
Oh my, was I? I was like, this man could do no wrong because I had shared with him everything, every day talking to him, especially that foundation being when Katrina happened. Granted, I did send him a Facebook message.
Recently?
Not recently. When I found him, I did.
Which was when? I'm not
saying dates. But no, it was not within the last 8 years.
Weeks? Oh, okay. 8 years. It was before 8 years.
Around that's 8, 10, whatever.
Just tell us.
I'm not. I am not.
We'll put the info in the bio.
But I was like, I got real smart. Nice to know. I never thought I'd get catfish, but it's good to know I'm doing great. And I just knew if I was to call Neve, I could have been on a show. That story is good catfish material, but I could not handle the public humiliation that would come with it. But now I'm ready for it.
Hit them like buttons if you enjoy the story. So last week, I shared a statistic last week how they said that during the pandemic, dating started to look differently because people weren't going on dates and they were pulling back and they were kind of doing that model again of just getting to know someone or things like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, this is just me wondering, I'm wondering if there's going to be a lot of those similar stories like that in the coming days because people are like, oh, we can't see each other because of COVID, blah, blah, blah.
But I think with technology and with face recognition and
FaceTime,
all that other stuff, you can avoid being catfish in 2021 and beyond. It was real easy for people to get you back in the day. Yeah. But now, I'm not getting got again. I want to see verify that face. I need to see the face card. I need to make sure it looked the same. So
you wouldn't make those same mistakes.
Oh no. Like I said, I was a teenager and I was not even in my 20s. I don't think, if I was, I was definitely a teenager and not even in my 20s. I feel now that I'm In my 30s, I'm definitely like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna come, you gotta come correct.
All right, cool. So
Yeah.
mental boundaries, emotional boundaries.
Yes. Now,
And
physical boundaries.
it's one we always talk about.
Yep, because we talked about sex.
What?
You talked about sex last night.
You know what's crazy? This is before you came to the ministry. We did a talk about sex at the BLOC one time, and it was called God Honoring Sex. That was the title of the message. But this was back in the day where it's like you would like tell people what the title was before the sermon. Yeah, nobody showed up that night.
I bet they did
All the boyfriends kept their girlfriends home.
I'm sure they
Isn't
did.
that crazy?
It is.
Because nobody wants to hear about
you need
biblical
to hear
view
about
of
that. Right.
sex.
Right.
Which is wild.
It's important to know it. And I love how you said like how God created it for good, but it's good in the right context.
It is.
Because people don't get that.
Yes, it is good in the right context.
Right.
Yes, I've got 3 boys to prove that.
Okay. No one is
Taylor looked up.
interested. Can we edit this part out?
Hey, I'm married. We can talk about it in the right context.
Okay,
right?
but no. Here's the thing: you could talk about it, but do we want to hear about it?
I feel attacked.
I don't want to hear. I know where babies come from, and I see your kids.
What do you think? Any questions or anything that stood out to you about that point, or
I think the curfew thing.
The curfew thing, and I just added that last night too. I was just thinking about my relationship with Laura
because it kind of what we talked about before. Like stuff happens at night.
It does,
and in the dark.
Josue's shaking his head
because you can't see nothing, and
yeah,
I'm gonna leave it.
I think there's something spiritual about it. I said that a couple weeks ago.
It is.
Like I think it's something about like darkness. Like, you can hide in darkness. And so nothing good happens after 10 p.m.
It's so funny. So there was this song. It's like this old school song. I was riding with my uncle one day, and the song is called "The Freaks Come Out at Night." And I don't know if you ever heard that.
We should have called the message that last night.
Real throwback. And so it's called "The Freaks Come Out at Night." And I'm a little girl riding with my uncle. Like, we just riding to Walgreens, and he got me some candy, and he was like, you know, Allison. And he was like the song's like, "The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out." And so I was like, Uncle, I was like, what are they saying? And he was like, he looked at me there. He said, "Allison, the freaks come out at night." And so my little innocent mind, my mom picks me up from his house, and I'm like freaked out. And my mom was like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Mama, the freaks come out at night. We gotta go. We can't be outside. The freaks are out tonight."
Aly.
I was so scared. But now as an adult, I've learned people just nastier at night. So
I mean,
the song was right.
It is what it is.
The freaks come out at night.
But the thing is, like, when you talk about physical boundaries, people automatically go to a place of like, oh, well, I'm grown. Like, don't tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying?
But as you grow older, like, so does everything else within you. So I feel like as you need to even have stricter boundaries because you have more freedom.
I was thinking about, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I was thinking about like this. So like being a father, have my kids. If I didn't love my kids, I wouldn't give them boundaries. Right? I'd let them do whatever they want. They would kill themselves because they don't know what's good for them. Right. But as they grow up, their boundaries that move around, right? Depending upon their maturity is the amount of freedom that I give them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like as you mature in your walk with the Lord, especially, I mean, with relationships, I feel like there's some things that these are definite boundaries you have to have. But some people need stricter boundaries than others because of the mistakes that they've made in their past. Right? Like they've opened up a can of whatever in their life, so they're more susceptible to opening up that can again, whatever it may be, right? If they put themselves in positions and things like that.
Yeah, I think you brought a good point. Like, so I know some couples that didn't kiss until the wedding. And at first I'd be like, okay, that's
crazy
a lot. But I
Is that crazy?
I'm not gonna sign up for that pact. That's not gonna be my covenant. But
what do you think? You think people should wait to kiss until they get married?
I think.
What's your opinion?
My opinion is, I think it's case by case. Like I look at a lot of stuff.
Really?
I feel like if you cannot handle, because some people, we just said the freaks come out at night. Some people get real hot and
with a kiss.
Yes.
Okay.
Not gonna tell all my stories, but
everybody's pointing fingers in the room right now.
Some people don't know how to stop, and if you know yourself and you know if you know a kiss is gonna lead to X, Y, and Z, you don't need to do it until you know, like,
Right.
this is it. If
Right.
you know, if you feel like, okay, I need to know you, like you said, if you just need to evaluate and be intimate
Right.
on a more emotional, relational
Yeah.
level before you hit
Yeah.
the physical level.
But see, and I respect that so much. Also, I was just, as you were saying that, I was thinking about a conversation I was having with a friend of mine a couple months ago where he was like, nah, like, we ain't kissed. And they've been talking for like a good minute. And I'm like, oh, like, dang, like, that's cool, right? Like, is that all right? Or like, what's the issue? He's like, no, he's like, well, because my past relationships, they didn't go the way I wanted them to go, and I went way beyond where I needed to go. And I really want this relationship to work out,
Yeah.
right? But here's the other flip side. I wonder what she's thinking.
Yeah.
If that's not communicated.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the thing. It has to be communication because I know I have boundaries, but that is not one of them. Like,
So when do you think that it's like when you're talking to somebody or whatever, when do you communicate those boundaries? Do you, like, when you start talking to them, when you ask them to be your boyfriend, girlfriend, is it a part of the, before you become boyfriend, girlfriend? Like,
so I communicated I don't want to say immediately, but I said
first text.
like,
Hey,
not first,
nice
not
to meet
first
you.
text,
Boundaries.
but like
Freaks
within,
come
like,
out at night.
Not first text, but like in conversation and talking. I feel like leading up to dates, I let them know, okay, like, this is what I'm not interested in this. Like,
Right.
and it's because like dudes will ask. Like the guys I talk to, they ask, and
Wait,
I'm
let's listen to the crowd here.
okay.
They both looked up. They're scared. Did y'all have boundaries? Y'all have boundaries? Like what? Curfew? What time? 10 o'clock? Okay. Laura, was it 9? You had curfew too? With Chloe or no? No. Taylor's just a godly man. He just...
We only saw each other on weekends.
You only saw each other on weekends?
Because I lived in Hammond.
That's right. He lived... Yeah. They lived in different places.
Yeah.
So...
I feel like long distance helps too with some people.
Well, now I do. Honestly. And I talked about it a couple weeks ago about a friend of mine who had that long distance and now they're going to get married. But he was sharing, he was like, I just don't do relationships well.
Yeah.
And it was like the best way to do a relationship was to get to know somebody on that emotional, intellectual level way before the physical.
Right.
Right? Because dating is not for intimacy, it's for evaluation kind of a thing. So, what else? Anything else?
No, I think we're covered. I don't want to put my foot
You think there's any more questions?
I don't have. No.
Awesome. Well, I hope, I don't know. The thing that last night that I wanted to stand out is people need to start thinking about these things now and not when it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? They don't need to wait until they're in the relationship to decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Right? You plan to fail, you plan to fail, whatever. Right?
Ooh, wait, try again? Say it again. Come on. You got it.
Okay, you know what?
Come on, say it.
You fail to plan, you plan to fail.
There you go.
Do my flip. Look at the camera. Right? Right? And so I think that it's, for me, a win would be two things. People walking away from this and saying, dang, like, I haven't even thought about boundaries. I've just kind of gone with the flow. Like, the fact that we're thinking about it, we're processing it, you can put some things down on paper and a notes or whatever. The other thing is that, and I shared this last night at the end, about Jericho. I just thought there was something so spiritual about that just that whole scene of Jericho walking along, yelling for Cecil, right? But him honoring the boundary, right? And almost saw like the image of God of being like at the boundary, calling us, saying, look, like, come on, like, come back into this place of protection where you can live free and that you can roam, you know? And I just want people to know, like, it's not too late. It's not too late. It doesn't matter how far you've gone, even the relationship that you're in right now. If you've gone too far, his mercy is new every morning, right? But you have to act on it, right? You can't just sit back and say, oh, I receive it, and not do anything about it. You need to take a step. And so I really encourage you to, like, reach out, get help, like we talked about, join a life group, you know, meet up with a pastor, a counselor, a trusted friend, get people in your life and say, hey, look, these are the things that I need help with in my life. So, cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, next week it's Halloween on Sunday night.
Yeah, so that means Christmas is coming.
Oh my gosh! All right, do you have when do you put your Christmas tree up?
Immediately.
Immediately, like when? Like today?
November. It's been up since last year. I'm kidding.
Oh. She hasn't taken it down.
No, I don't know. They wait till after Thanksgiving, like we put ours.
What are we doing at the block next week?
Oh, it's a 90s theme situation. So come in your best dressed 90s theme.
What's 90s theme? Give me like some reference
So Fresh
points.
Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
Living Single.
What'd you
Saved
say?
by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell.
Say it louder, Taylor. Sing it.
Are you going to dress up next week, Taylor? Okay.
Good.
Hey, he already is dressed up in 90s.
Oh, Taylor. No. Taylor, we require a little bit more effort, sir, than your regular. If you always dress in the 90s, do more.
Yeah, do more.
Taylor.
Do more. And the conversation next week will be on soul ties, which is the spiritual aspect.
Spirits.
I'm excited about that.
Yes.
All right, overtime's over. Love you guys. See you next week.